Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our little, now we have to call it cryptocurrency experiment on our Bitnosh channel. Today is a great day because one of the most acclaimed living economists with a following of at least 72 million US citizens, Donald Trump Jr., at least he definitely knows a lot about bankruptcy, I'd like to say, uh, has called Bitcoin a scam and a threat to the US dollar today. Yeah, this is not fake news, and but still should not lead you to buy Bitcoin instantly today, just because you think if the media says something, the opposite is right. But let's have a look of it a little bit more in depth. So, is Bitcoin a scam? The answer is definitely no, it's not. Bitcoin is not a scam because it has no signs of a scam. It isn't created to benefit anybody apart from the people who take part in the Bitcoin experiment and the wider community which uses Bitcoin to facilitate transactions. There's nobody anywhere to see who benefits from the release of Bitcoin. Nobody has ever managed to scam somebody out of anything because he produces Bitcoin. The only people who scam are the ones who use Bitcoin in a non intended way. So, no, the answer is no. Then we have another problem. Is Bitcoin a threat against the dollar? There is obviously a problem with the fall of a currency empire. I have provided an article here from a sorry for I just got a message on my phone. So sorry. Yeah. So when currency empires fall, so the one thing you have to know that if you are the currency where the reserve currency in the world, then you get some spoils. So you have some kind of benefits only one currency can have, and that is basically you have a credit card with no limit. So, what does a reserve currency mean? It means that all the other economies in the world hold your currency to facilitate transactions and to make it possible for their economic beings, for their entities who trade in international trade, to pay in dollars without being at the risk of having huge spikes and hikes in the course of the currency. So basically, they provide a stock in currency which facilitates the payment in the foreign currency. So those spoils are basically that the main spoil is basically that this is uh, a credit card, as I said, in with a limit because with no limit because basically those reserves are not held in banknotes, of course, but they are held in treasury notes, and those bonds, as they are called, they accumulate in the case of the US only in the ones which the Treasury has published in May 21, yes, 17th of May. Those are 7 trillion US dollars held in bonds by foreign governments, and that basically means 7 trillion of debt is not called in, but revolves on a regular basis because the treasuries have no intentions to withdraw the money and call the money in. So basically, if the bond expires, they will just replace it with another one. So the credit itself is never paid back, but it is only served according to the interest rates. So the income for the foreign central bank, which holds US dollar bonds, is basically the interest, and they have no intention of calling back the debt. And the moment you lose your role or you lose your position as the main reserve currency, of course, then those debts will be called in, and you find yourself in the position many consumers find themselves in when suddenly they not only need to pay the interest on their credit card, but also have to repay the amount of debt they have borrowed. So that actually is a problem, or can become a problem, if there is another currency which might lead to a replacement of yourself as the leading currency. So now we have to go into something which is a bit more difficult. Could Bitcoin become the next world reserve asset? Oh yeah, there's a long way to go, but there is a blog which I find has the potential of giving some information, because it is a very good summary about what the role of money is, and it's easy to read, and it is basically an entrance door, a first step if you want to read a little bit more about the role of money and the place of money has in our society, in an easy to follow and easy to digest read. And the next thing is, I would give this as a very short read as well. It summarizes the benefits of being a reserve currency. The loss of the reserve currency status for the US will bring economic and political crisis. It was economically and politically painful for the UK. The pound sterling was the previous reserve currency, even though its international financial position was not in heavy deficit. What will it be for the US, which has become the world's largest debtor? There will be an avalanche of checks coming home to be paid when the dollar begins to lose its status. Of course, excessive debt in your own currency is also spelled inflation. that is the most likely outcome, and it is how other governments have tried to cope with the loss of reserve status in the past. The solidarities and dynamic were ultimately consumed by a cycle of inflation and debasement. And the most likely outcome for me as well as for him is that the renminbi becomes the major reserve currency just because of most of the trades will be facilitated with China. So it is a basically natural process that uh, the Chinese companies will write their invoices in renminbi, and you will have to pay them in renminbi because that's how it will work. And the other threat he thinks is just because of the sheer growth in numbers, India could be the other contender to become a reserve currency. So the rupee, I'm not so sure about that, but of course that is an option as well. So those are the two articles which are short and easy to read if you really want to go into it. The problem with Bitcoin becoming or cryptocurrencies becoming the reserve currencies is that there's just not enough around. And of course, every state will try to rig in the benefits of being the reserve currency. So if China has an option or India has an option to become the reserve currency, of course they will jump on it just to reap in the benefits of being the country which provides the reserve currency. So the next step would be if we look at the function of money itself and what is it actually doing in our society. I would offer you to have a look at John Maynard Keynes and his article or his book. It's more a book than an article. It's a 2-volume book, and it is called Treatise on Money, and it gives you basically all you need to know about money in a modern economy. And if you want to go to the very roots, then there is a book by a German chap which is called The Theory of Money and Credit. And as you can see, it's by Ludwig van Mises. And it is the best known book about money and credit since books have been written. Basically, it's a standard if you want to have an overview about what money and credit facilitates. So if you want to have a deeper understanding of money and the role which cryptocurrencies will have to play or will have to replace. In my opinion, it will be replaced within a transactional sphere where we have a pure vehicle for transactions, which includes benefits where the additional benefits of transactions uh, are included in the means of transactions itself, like being encrypted or being able to use contracts and send messages and whatever. And we will have another kind of money which facilitates the credit market, which is basically uh, decoupled from the transactional role, because in the money was never designed to have the function of a valve storage. It was always its only purpose ever was to facilitate transactions, and over time money has basically become a means of also accumulating wealth and accumulating uh, power, and over, yeah, at some point it has to go back to basics. So we have to have a sphere where we have a transaction sphere, and we have the sphere of power and wealth. But that is only my opinion. There are a lot of other opinions out there which do not agree with what I'm saying, so don't take it for granted. Uh, but with the evolving of the digital currencies, there is an obvious sign that we will we are on the way or on the path of going back to the roots and basically become a world which becomes more aware of power and wealth, and on the other hand, uh, also needs a transactional medium which is, yeah, free from its burden of facilitating power and wealth. So where is Chia today? Let's have a look. We are approaching the 20 exabyte, which is, yeah, on track with all the estimations. So the main consensus among the people who follow the project is that we will see 100 exabyte in the near future, and I'm not the one who disagrees with that. The only problem I see is that the whole project falls apart, which might be on the way to the 100 exabyte, but we will see that. I don't know. The price of the Chia coin is moving slowly but steadily. My prediction of $600 being the next value or the next line of defense was right for a few moments tonight, but only for a very brief period. There was a sudden spike. About $2 million have been pumped into the market within seconds, and that kept the price up again to $600, but only for a very brief period. So now we have bottomed out at 550, 530. Now we're back to 550. I think we are on the right way, on the right path. So basically, by doing nothing, you can achieve something if it is going in the direction of $20 a coin. Then we will have many of our problems solved, and we will see how it pans out. So that is it for today. Nothing new. I think everything is within the expected parameters. We will see. I am really curious how it works out. And I think if Donald calls Bitcoin a scam, then yeah, we probably do the right thing. Okay, thank you very much for listening and hope you like and subscribe. I know it is difficult, but it is impossible to do the to go into the subject in depth as I'm not Donald Trump and I'm not somebody who would just offer you easy solutions. So if you want to get into it and if you want to build your own opinion about it, then you don't get around of reading some stuff. And if you just want to make a quick buck in speculating in bitcoins, then you are also very welcome to do so. Okay, thank you very much for listening. Have a great day and please don't forget to like and subscribe.